Today we are having another interview. Let me just, I want to pin a comment because we're doing it on Instagram. Okay, let's pin the comment. Okay, hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Oh, I forgot earphones. Today I'm not so organized, yes. I don't know what's happening with my life today. But let me get my earphones ready so that the sound is going to be good. Let's put this on. Oh gosh. Okay, much better. Okay, let us officially start. Hi guys, so my name is Nomthandazo Mogadima. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to my YouTube channel. So this live is going to go live on my YouTube channel. It's called the Mentorship Corner. On today's video, I'm going to be interviewing a lady called Nomthandazo. She's got a business. So she's a founder and CEO of a business called Doeks by Thandazo. So we'll be talking about her business journey and some of the lessons that she has learned throughout her journey in hopes to inspire you and motivate you to, one, start your own businesses, and two, to not make the same mistakes that she had made, or basically to climb the ladder quicker using some of the lessons that she has learned throughout her journey. So as I greet all of you guys, hey guys, thank you for joining. We are just going to wait for her to join in, and then we can. If you haven't done so already, please head over to my Instagram page. There is a Linktree link there, and then you can click on the YouTube channel to subscribe to the Mentorship Corner. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. You can hear me properly, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
I can.
Okay.
All
Unjani
right.
Bizo?
Yeah, okay. Like, it's very weird. Yes, this is my name referring to someone else because it's like,
Like,
you
ukhuluma
know,
ngawe yini?
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I love your background. It's very nice. So without
Thank
wasting
you.
any more time, we can just get right into the interview. Are you ready to start?
No problem. Yes,
All
I'm ready
right.
to start.
Perfect. Firstly, before we even start, I just want to say thank you for, I know you have a very busy schedule with work and the business and yeah, being a wife and everything. So thank you so much for putting time aside to share your journey with us in hopes to inspire someone sitting at home and watching us today. So
Thank you so
welcome
much
to
for
the
your
mentorship.
patience.
You're most welcome. So welcome to the Mentorship Corner. So to begin with, please just give us your full name and surname, your social media handles, both for your business and your personal one. I think you can also give them your YouTube channel because I know you've got a YouTube channel so that people can follow you there. And then we'll start with the first question of the interview.
Okay, so my name is Nomthandazo Mogadima.
Yes.
I still very much pride myself in being Umazulu. So I'm Nomthandazo Mogadima, and on Instagram it's Doeks by Thandazo. Then on my personal one it's thandazo.mogadima_. Then on YouTube it's also thandazo.mogadima_.
Perfect. All right, so let's get right into it. My first question is basically, we're just going to take a short walk down, the beginning of like the beginning. So tell us a little bit about your childhood, how you grew up, your studying journey, your career journey, and then of course your work in terms of the work you do now, including a little bit about the business, but not getting too deep because we're going to get into the business right after this.
No problem. Okay, so I was born in Richards Bay in a small village called
Oh
Mzingazi,
my God.
Ekondweni.
You are actually
And yeah,
literally umkhaya wami, like home is in Empangeni, by the way.
oh yeah. And yeah, then I went to school, Richards Bay Primary, then I went to John Ross College. Then after school, I went to Durban to study at the Durban University of Technology. I did travel and tourism management, and then my focus was on eventing. I loved that, and by God's grace, that's what I've been doing like to complete my diploma, and till today, that's what I've been doing. Growing up, I was raised by my mom and my grandmother. I had a stepdad, but then he passed away. And they were just very well-determined women, and they really are like an inspiration to who I am today, the woman that I am, independent, strong. You can't go hungry, you have to hustle type of thing. So,
Yes.
yeah, so like the most of the woman that I am is really inspired by my mother and my grandmother.
Lovely, lovely. Love that.
Yeah.
I feel like we sometimes forget about our background, but the people that we grew around are actually some of the reasons why we are the people we are today. Good or bad, actually, yes. Good or bad.
They
Good or
do
bad.
inspire how we turn out and how we just face life and handle things. Yeah. So even it's been to leave home at 17. I was the first person, like I was the first person in my family that went to university.
University,
So
sure.
the only thing that I had was being the of my mother and my grandmother. No one else to ask how it's going to be. And I
Yes.
was like, I can do this. And they were like, you can do this. I remember my first semester, yeah, I struggled. It was hectic. And when I went back home, they were like, "Are you eating? Why are you so skinny?" You know? And I didn't feel that. I thought I was so strong. I had this. I didn't see myself like lose weight. And I didn't really so then when I went back, they amped me. When I went back, I was fine till I graduated.
There you go. There's always that, are you eating? Are you fine? Are they
You
treating
know,
you well?
you know, is anyone bullying you?
All of it, all of it.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. Um, then moving over to the business aspect of your life. So why did you start your Duke business? So like why Dukes of every, because like there's like dressing up a woman, there's skirts, there's tops, there's blazers, there's
Yeah.
belts, there's everything. But why head wraps? Why Dukes? Do they represent something for you? Or do you want them to represent something on like the heads of any woman who actually buys your Dukes?
So the weird thing is I've always wanted to have a foot in the fashion industry, right? So if I hadn't studied what I studied, I would have done fashion design, which I was
Okay.
spoken out of. Like I was told it was never going to be sustainable. I can't make a living out
Mm,
of it. So I always had that void. And I always was like, I want to do something in fashion. But you know,
yes.
as we procrastinate, we put things aside. I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. And
Mm,
it's even harder when you have a 9 to 5, right?
definitely,
Then I
yes.
met a man that has got a brand that's booming and growing, you know, in the
Mm,
industry. And that sort of like inspired me. But I was always just like, one day, you know, and he would speak me into it and ask me about it. When are you doing it? When are you doing it? Like I had his full support.
mm,
But, you know, we parked things, whatever. Then 2020, when
mhm.
the year, so I'm going to tell you two parts of how this came about and
That's fine.
where I feel like it was meant to be.
Got you,
So
yes.
2020 begins, and I said to my now husband, I said to him, um, I want to change my look, you know. I just want to modernize like Erica Badu vibes, Amadu, and modernize them because I've got an afro and
Mm,
I'm trying not to braid too much. So the next best thing when you don't want to comb my afro is to wear a doek. So I said
mm,
to him, I want to change like my look and I just want to incorporate like Amadu into it and make them look vibey. That's what I want to do.
mm.
And that was just a conversation we had and then it passed. Then I started buying like head wraps from other like brands and whatever. Then COVID happens, right? COVID
Mm-hmm.
happens. I got retrenched with no plan B.
Sure.
So getting retrenched, I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? You know?
Mm,
Then at the very last minute where I knew exactly how much money I had and where it's going what, I was like, I'm gonna go buy material. It was a Thursday. I'm gonna buy material. I sat up one night, designed like the packaging, showed it to my husband, and he was like, yes, this is good. I found somebody who's gonna make them for me. And by the Saturday, the business was already ready to go live the following Monday. And
yes.
that's how Umnqwazo was born.
Mm,
You know, I had to make means to live in COVID, and I had no plan B, and I could see that my savings are getting exhausted now. And I had just bought my first car that year, so I couldn't lose the car either. So I
mm.
had to make a plan to contribute to life, you know,
Got
and to pay for
you.
things. And Umnqwazo by Thandazo was literally born to help me survive. But I just feel like also because of what I'd spoken in the beginning of that year, it was meant to be. I think it was just meant to be that I'll start this hairdress business, and we're here today.
Sure. So since
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
So that's it. So you're nearing the 3-year mark, basically.
Yeah, I am. September. Yeah.
And is it mainly online or do you do pop-up stores as well?
So it is mainly online. I have done some pop-up markets at malls, and there's another one called Commerce, it's like a huge commerce market that comes from Cape Town. I've done that. It's been hard to pursue what I really want to get it to be with a full-time job.
Gotcha.
So for now, it is mostly mainly online.
Got you. Got you. Got
Yeah.
you. All right. So, so you've actually answered most of the questions. So you've answered why you started the business and why Dukes. Do they represent something for you specifically? Because when I went through your online store, I picked up with each Duke has a specific name which means something. And you've
So
named most of them, I think, in Zulu.
yes.
Mm.
So I think that just represents who I am. So when we were growing up, right, skole multi, white people, white way,
Yes,
and I
yes.
remember, I think I was either in grade 8 or grade 7 when my grandmother said, I no longer want to hear English in my house because she used to struggle to send us to get izinto in Zulu, and when they decided to put us in those schools, it was for a better life and for more access to izinto.
Mm.
And it didn't realize in the long run because it could tarnish the child knowing where they're from, right? So
Yes.
from there, I was like, oh, I'm not from Umnqazo. And no one at home said, you must go there. I took myself to Umnqazo. I was so intrigued and interested in knowing more about the culture I am.
Mm.
So wherever there was a chance for me to learn and teach about my culture, I've always just been that person, right? So
Gotcha.
when Umnqwazo started, that was like re-sparkled with, okay, I like this. This is an opportunity for me to actually introduce people to some things about like Zulu people. So whenever I introduce a new pattern or a new head wrap, I name it in such a manner that I'm manifesting, first of all, something towards myself, the business, and the person purchasing it, and also in the long run, they're learning a new word for themselves.
That's true. Wow, that's
Yeah,
beautiful. That's
yeah.
beautiful. That's beautiful. Love that. Love that. Moving on to our next question is how did you prepare for the business mentally? I think this question fits because this was like the middle of COVID. You were really struggling because you got retrenched from work. So I'm sure that affected you to a certain extent mentally and emotionally. And now you had to try and fend for yourself and make things work. How did you mentally prepare yourself for the business if you did?
So it was a hard thing to do. Like it was hectic. So I mean, I'm an overthinker and a bit of a perfectionist. I want things. I want to know what mangvuga. This is the plan, type of thing.
Mm,
So not knowing where my next source of income is going to come from was already just consuming most of my mind, and there was no option to look for a job because everything was just
yes,
closed down.
that's
So
true.
I had to just be positive and trust Uguti. With the following that I have, people will trust what I put out there. And I gave people no time. So by the time I was launching the business already, I was like, what am I thinking? What am I thinking? Why do I think that people are going to buy Amadou out of all things in COVID? What the hell's going to happen? So it was a lot of like positive talking to myself and just
Mm,
trusting God. He's got this. Mine is to put
yes.
it out there and trust that the right people will appeal to this and purchase the hairdrops. And surprisingly, on the first day of launch, I think I made about 5 sales and I shook myself. Because Labantu, I only told them like I think it was 2 days prior and already people were ready with their coins.
Mm,
So mentally there was a lot of work of trying to stay positive, even
mm.
though a huge voice was like, why do you think this is going to succeed?
At this
Why do
time,
you think people
you
don't think, in COVID,
should be
people,
selling
we thought,
masks and sanitizers.
more, sanitizers. No, I'm out here trying to sell fashion pieces, and I just like, God, I know you got me. And I went
Mm,
ahead, and I just trusted the process. I was like, let me just put it out there. maybe it'll take a month, maybe it'll take 2 months, maybe it won't even take off. But surprisingly, it did take off. And I was so relieved. And I think it helped me to set the bar high, that when I fell in the middle, I was fine, because I was
Yes.
really like pressuring myself. But by God's grace, everything just worked out, you know. But there was a lot of pep talk and like telling myself that I can do this, you know. It's gonna turn out right. It has to be.
Yeah, I think we need that because sometimes we forget. We
Mm,
just think you can just jump and not prepare for it because the fact that you did the pep talks, it allowed you to first appreciate, you know, the fruits of your work when you got the sales, and
yeah.
also just to be ready. Should it, even if you didn't get sales, I'm sure you would have said, okay, fine. You said, okay, fine. Maybe I'll give it a month or 2 months and see how it
Mm,
goes. You had the patience, you had the positivity and the positive mindset that you needed to actually make it work, which is amazing. And of course, God's grace. I feel like I always say
yeah.
you always have to do the hard labor and then we need to let him do his work because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, he plants the seeds and then he makes sure that we get whatever it is that will glorify him
Mm,
and obviously grow us as we get a bit older.
yeah. And I think another thing that helps, you know, unfortunately some people don't have this option. It really helps to be around people that are supportive, even if
Mm,
they don't know like why you think this is gonna work,
mm,
but they can
mm,
put up that front to just push you, you know. Nabo
mm,
abazi ukuthi ucabanga ngitesa amadoke at this time, but what they're giving you
mm,
just positivity. No, go ahead, you know, we've got you. We'll also spread the word for you. Send us images, we'll share on our WhatsApp, you know. So
mm,
that absolutely also helps if to have somebody that will just support you and push you in the right direction. And I think that's exactly what also helped me to continue and to trust that this thing is going to work out.
definitely, definitely. I wouldn't have said it better. I wouldn't have said it better. And then funding, the very tricky part of starting a business. Did you self-fund the business or did you get maybe an investor or anything like that? So how did you fund the business when you started?
So with Umnqwazo, I self-funded it, and
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning of it, my husband took the portion of the careers. So
Mm-hmm.
he was like, "You focus on getting more stock and getting your product out there. I'll cover you on the career until your business is stable," which helped
Mm-hmm.
me a lot. And because also it was in COVID, and we knew where our money was going, um,
Yes.
taking from that money to start this business was like, you know, are you sure? You know, so
Mm-hmm.
I took from what I had to start Umnqazo, and it really did work out for me. And I could easily pay myself back for what I took in like 2 months of starting the business. So
That's good. That's
yeah,
good.
I self-funded. My husband helped as well to just get it off the ground and running.
Mm-hmm. And I think
Yeah.
that goes back to the point you mentioned about support, having people who support you even when they sometimes don't see the vision and
Yes.
sometimes don't see the things like the way that you do,
Yeah.
which is normally the case, which
Yeah.
is normally the case in business.
Yeah.
Mm. All right, so moving to our next question. So from our discussion, I learned that one, you still have your 9 to 5. I thought you were working like half a day or something, and then you were focusing on the business. So you still have your normal 9 to 5, and then you've got your business. So run us through how your normal work day looks like, where let's say a day where you've got orders that you need to sort out, and you also have work that needs to be done from your 9 to 5. How does that look like for you normally?
So honestly speaking, that's been a juggle because
Mm,
when I started Umnqwazo, obviously I was home. Then I went back to work and I
mm-hmm,
was working from home. So it was fine. I was here, you know.
mm,
I could pack orders in between my meetings and my work. I would dedicate time in the day to say, okay, I'm packing orders because the delivery guy comes at this time. Then I went back to
mm,
the office and it changed everything, and we were both back at work. So I would take some mornings and be late for work just to make sure that I meet the courier guy. He collects, then I head
yes.
to work, you know.
Mm, mm,
And then I was just like always saying, God, if I can just go back to working from home, because the last thing I want is to lose this business. This business put me through COVID. I was fine, you know, so I don't want to
mm,
lose it. So
mm.
I was always just like, oh God, I just want to work from home, you know, for other things as well, like for being a homemaker and all that. I want to work from home. I'm tired of driving in traffic and all of that. And
Mm,
granted that wish again in March. So I've been working from home since March. And what I do is I'll get up and, do my meetings, check my stuff. And then depending on how many orders I have, I can pack orders on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Then I know that they're out. By the weekend, everybody has their order. And then if it's like slow, I'll just look at the day that I have with work and do that. And again, going back to support, when I'm really hectic with work, my husband looks at that. He will do the orders for me and pack them for me and make sure that they are correct. All I do is just send him the orders and say, these are the orders, these are the addresses, the contact details, and then he does the rest for me.
Awesome. Busy. But I like how you keep organized because you plan everything. Like, you are definitely a Nomthandazo, trust me, because I'm also like that. Like, you plan everything to the T so that you manage expectations from both sides, your business side and your professional work, because obviously you still need to get the bread on both sides. So it's very, very important. It's very important. Our next question is, have you ever messed up an order, like, for clients? And if yes, how did you try and rectify that?
Like, I'm gonna say I have, and it was just one order where it was the beginning of the business, sort of, and I was learning how to read Shopify at that time. So I would just look at the order, and obviously it showed you the image of which product it bought and the name of that. So the lady had purchased 2, so I didn't look at the quantity. So I sent her everything, but there was one doek where she had bought 2 head wraps of the same doek, and I sent her 1 instead. She was calm and understanding, and what I just did obviously is just say sorry, and I repackaged the 1 doek that was missing, added a little gift and a note, and I sent it to her, and it was fine. But other than that one, I haven't had any like problems with my head wraps or like huge messes, and I'm grateful for that, because anything is possible, especially with trusting somebody else to handle the part of doing them, because I have to now work. I don't have time to sit and sew doek. So I just send the material. No, I handle all of that in the background. I've had instances where 4 meters or 8 meters of fabric was messed around because they didn't take my instruction properly. And I handle that before my customers experience that. So I don't just say, Spanbani, please sew these headers for me, and then package and send. I check everything, and then I'm able to pick up anything that could possibly create a mess before it creates a mess, and I get that sorted. So I think I avoid that as much as I can. And obviously now I am able to read the orders correctly and understand the system, all of that. So I haven't really had a big mess, and touch wood, I hope I never have one. It's been going well. Yeah.
That's good. I like how you added a little gift, because it makes it like extra special, and it makes the apology a little bit more sincere for the customers, because we listen more if you give us something extra just to say you're sorry from a customer's perspective. Yes.
And I'm very big on building a relationship with the people that purchase from me, because I always say I don't want it just to feel like somebody just bought a piece of cloth. It goes all the way back to the name I give the head wrap, and then coming back to ask more about that, and if you could go through my DMs, there's like a sisterhood there, where we talk about things that are not even about Umnqwazo, it's life things, people start their businesses and all of that. And I think it's in how I handle and the manner that I put out there when it comes to Umnqwazo that allows for those relationships to happen.
Yes, to bloom, definitely. Okay, my almost second last question, is, how has your business journey affected your personal growth?
One thing that I can say Umnqwazo has affected in a good and in a bad way is that, for example, this year it's been very slow and like extremely slow in business. And it's to a point where I know that February, March, there were no sales at all, but I still need to pay for the shop to run online. My Instagram needs to run and all of that, and I still do my marketing, send out mailers and all of that. And because the business belongs to me, I feel like I'm failing, but there's nothing to point at, you know. So my mental health is sort of like disturbed here and there. It was like, what can I do when I'm already doing so much, you know? And you just look around and you see that most people are also going through the same thing, you know, people are using their money differently. And because I really love this business and it's so close to my heart, and especially because of the time that it started, I'm like, I feel very sad on some days when it's like so slow, and I'm just like, oh, what's happening? Is this the end of it? And then I have to get myself out of that hole and fight again, you know, dress up, shoot videos, do tutorials, you know,
Yes,
and when it comes back, it'll come back.
definitely.
So it's
Yes.
just been personally, it has played around with my mind, and like, should I close it down? And then when I'm just thinking about that, I get a huge order or I get an interest to collaborate or this. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's just the timing, you know, maybe we just going to do this way, it's going to pass. So it has affected me in that sense. But I also love the fact that it keeps me going and it just helps me sharpen my fighting skills, because I'm not one to give up, especially the things that I love. I am not one to give up.
Yes.
So it has taught me to be patient and to trust in God more, and you know, like in the process of faith and all of that. So it's a challenge, it's a test, you
Yes,
know, and it's a
definitely.
continuous test, and things need to change all the time. I'm always doing research and trying to understand the lingo that are like is now spoken, and having a business that solely or mostly your customers come from social media, and so many changes happen on a daily basis on social media. It's stressful. It is so stressful. So it's always like learning, okay, sebenza magic Instagram, what now works, what does the algorithm want, you know, what works best, you know.
Yes,
That's why I
yes,
also then said, let me not use my YouTube channel mostly just for or only for my personal stuff. Let me also have a leg there that supports the business. And that helped a
yes,
lot as well.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely, definitely. But I guess it's also like life. You get seasons where you've got really good seasons, and then there's
And
the,
then,
yeah. Yeah, and I guess in the down moments, it's what you say you do. You do your research, you relearn how everything works again, and then you just put in more work, and then obviously you see the results after the season ends and you're starting a new season, which I guess is
yeah,
the journey of growth. Yes, yes.
absolutely.
We have
You can't use the
unfortunately
same method all the
over
time.
and over. Yes, definitely, definitely
Yeah.
agree on you with that one. Oh, we have unfortunately come to an end of our interview. I've got just one last question for you is but you've already said a few, some of the business lessons or some of the lessons you've had to learn with your business. You've said had to learn to be very patient, and you've had to learn to do your research and learn how obviously social media works, how the algorithm works when everything changes. So you've learned to adapt and
Yeah.
adjust. Is there anything else that's specific that you've also learned that someone at home could learn from?
I would say for somebody who's got the time before they officially launch their business, take all the time you need to research for every aspect of your business.
Mm.
Who are you trying to speak to? What does that person do? What does the person currently wear or drink or eat or whatever you're trying to sell? Just
Yes.
look at the pockets where you will fit in of based off of what they are currently doing, right?
Mm.
Then do research and take your time also in finding the people that are forming the bigger piece of your business. So these are the people that manufacture for you, where you source your stuff, you know. I've had to change a lot of times where I source my fabrics from, you know. You need
Mm.
people that are flexible and understanding, that are reasonable, that also take the fault when you are like, this material is not doing what you promised it to do. And they don't treat you just like, oh, it's just a small business. And they ignore your cry because you are like a 0.5% to our business, so you don't matter. You want to work with people that take you seriously, no matter how big or small you contribute to their businesses.
Yes,
So take your
definitely.
time and make sure that you also just, I'm very big on praying over things.
Mm-hmm.
So pray for the right resources, pray for the right people to be a part of your businesses. And that will help you a lot, you know. Save up money. When you do opt for the funding, read the fine line. Don't be too excited about the money.
Definitely.
Because I think a lot of
Yes.
people don't read the fine line. And next thing they're like, our share or pay us back. You know, I've seen a lot of that happen to friends, you know. So if you do opt for, or if you are forced to go for the funding or grant option, just make sure that you read the fine line. We don't read, even on personal things, we don't read the fine line. We get
Yes, the
excited
T's
about
and C's.
and then next thing you just living to pay that off, you know. So read the fine line, do your research, surround yourself with people that are supportive and can just pull you out of that. Because I'm a very shy person, but with Umnqwazo, I've learned to put myself out there.
I was about
I've learned to face the
say.
camera and record because my business requires that. It requires me to be out there to speak about it, to do tutorials. If you compare my first videos to now, you can see that I shame Waizama, you know. And just know that you are going to be challenged in ways that you didn't know you would be challenged in, and be open-minded all the time. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I still have DMs in people's DMs. I've got questions in their DMs where I'm asking for things, and unfortunately some people don't get back, but don't be discouraged, you know. Maybe he wasn't the right person to ask. You'll find your answer somewhere else. So take your time. If you do have the time, I had a week to start a business, and if I had had the time, I would have taken maybe the 6 months to learn, to ask questions, you know. But I had to learn on the go, and with what I have learned, I'm happy to share with people that these are the things that you just need to take your time on, so that you make sure you're not doing them when the business is running.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
I hope they're listening, because you've said a lot, a lot. Sure, it's amazing, it's amazing. We've got a question from Susie Lady. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. It says, I have a question. Has Nomti ever considered going international, like these African festivals overseas?
So I have shipped a few head wraps internationally. I am hoping to partner with a friend of mine who's currently in Germany to get my stuff out there, but she's still settling in, and she's also got she does beadwork. So as soon as she's done, we had spoken about how I'm gonna get my stuff to that side, and she's gonna send some stuff this side, and we can just work on that, because she's doing a lot of African festivals there, and Germans love our stuff. So I am doing the research there. The only thing that kills us with trying to go international is the shipping costs, you know, because somebody will then only just be paying for that, and the product is like a fraction of the shipping amount. So we're still hoping that something cheaper will work out when we want to ship things out to other countries. But the only hold up really is just the shipping part. As soon as we have an option for that, we are going fully international, and it's going to be available also on the online shop.
Perfect. Perfect. So
Yeah.
we only had that one question. We've got a comment from it's wool.fm. They said, oh, this was so lovely. I hope you save it to your pages. Vu, it is going to be on my YouTube page. I'm not going to save it on Instagram. It's going to be on my YouTube page. And I'm also going to add the links to her online store, her personal and business Instagram, and also her YouTube channel, so that you can check out some of her other work as well. Yeah, that is it from me. Thank you so much for joining us. I personally have learned a lot from this conversation. I'll definitely listen to it again when I'm not talking. And yeah, thank you for your time. So yeah, do you have any last comments before we close the live?
No, I just want to say thank you. And if there's anybody who is watching that has a growing business, one thing I don't like doing is calling my business a small business, because I feel like I'm just, you know, so I always call it a growing business. For anyone who's got a growing business, just be patient with yourself, and especially because we are going through something as a collective this year. Just something is in the air, you know. So if you feel like there's just like a bit of slowness in your business, just hold on. I think we're coming to a pass of that, and trust in your craft. and we'll get there. And I just want to say thank you to you for having me. I appreciate it so much. It means a lot for somebody to see you and want to speak to you and understand what you're doing. I appreciate it, and also all the best with your business.
Thank you.